Yo, what's up guys, John Boogle here. Here we go, we got Into the Future Chapter 3 Great Abyss, the updated in-depth guide. Let's hop in. If you noticed a theme surrounding the Into the Future Great Abyss stages, you probably know what this stage is gonna be. So let's just hop in. And you already know the most important part in all of these in-depth guides for these chapters is the treasures. So make sure you absolutely do get the previous treasures all superior. In this guide, you can see we have one that is not superior, but I do recommend just getting them all superior, especially if you're using low-level units like we are here. And later in the game, you will need these treasures anyways, so just get them. And by all previous treasures, I mean all previous treasures. 48 out of 48 on the previous chapters. Yes, you could probably skate by with not getting every single treasure if you have the help of some true forms or ubers, but just get them anyways because you will absolutely need them later. Alright, let's talk about the lineup here. Now, like most of my other guides go, of course, this is just the lineup explanation. You don't need the exact same lineup or exact same units. I do mention a lot of replacements and other units you can use. And later on in the video, we'll jump into different lineups for the stage as well, just testing them out, so you can get somewhat of a full idea of what to use. So for your stallers or meat shields here, you can use 3. 4 is the safe route as well. If you don't have crazed cats, then you can just use other cheap meat shields. A real nice one for this stage is Rover. If you have a true form, you'll have pretty much no issue in this stage, paired with some other units we'll talk about. For now, just keep in mind Rover can work as a nice third meat shield. Someone else who can also work great as a nice meat shield here is Artist or Ramen. If you have the true form, can be great in this stage. So that's always an option if you don't have, let's say, Crazed Wall. Now let's talk about the crowd control units. And of course, I'm going to bring up Psycho Cat here. While it isn't the true MVP of this stage, it is for sure the MVP of most of the Into the Future stages, the big ones at least, like Moon. But the thing with this stage is there's a enemy in here which can hard counter a Psycho Cat stack. But if you get lucky, it still works great. We'll talk about it more in detail in the strategy explanation. Now, the other main crowd control units here that you can use that will pretty much solo the stage with just a couple meat shields is Castaway, but you can use other stuff paired with Psycho Cat like Magica Cat. And in this stage specifically, Bun Bun, the Alien Bun Bun, actually has just enough range to where you can use Bishop. They both have the same range, but Necromancer actually does outrange Bun Bun. But if you have true forms, Sanzo works nice here, but Freeze is the crowd control to go for in this stage because Bun Bun does have a chance to wave, which can just wipe out your whole stack. So if you have anti-alien units that can freeze, that outrange Bun Bun, absolutely do bring them. That goes for floating, anti-floating units as well. Even if you don't have Bishop's true form, it can work. I put that in hard quotation marks. Can work because they both have the same range. Just use Psycho Cat if you don't have Bishop's true form. And like I mentioned before, while Psycho Cat is the MVP of Into the Future, Necromancer is the hidden MVP of this stage, and you'll see why once we hop into the strategy explanation. Now, if you don't have Necromancer or units that don't freeze, floating, or alien, then you're gonna have to bring a slow, weaken, or even just a knockback unit that can help out. Just any form of crowd control does help out. Just keep in mind, without freeze, it is pretty RNG heavy because if Bun Bun does wave, there goes your whole stack, unless you're using wave blockers like Octo and such. Some of these super rare crowd control units work here as well, though don't rely solely on them. Now, Sadako can work here without its true form if you do have proper peon control. But keep in mind, if you do have the true form here, absolutely do use it because it blocks waves and it does have the anti-floating counter as well. And it goes without saying, if you do have crowd control ubers, do use them. Even if they're level 1, they can work very well as their role is a crowd control unit. And most of the ubers that have the crowd control effects do outrange Bun Bun by default, so do bring them. Now, attackers, this is pretty much the same as every other guide here in the beginner phase. General attackers work great even if they don't target the specific trait. In this case though, Castaway does target aliens with its freeze, and it is very effective in this stage. Now if you don't have Castaway, then of course you can just use Dragon, Paris, Drama Cat, Pole Vaulter, just the whole lineup of general attackers. You can use Ring Girl. If you don't have the gachas, then you could use Crazy UFO. If you don't have Crazy Dragon, you could just use regular Dragon along with the like Paris and such. If you're using the freeze strategy here, then you can use just high single target damage units. Butterfly or Swimmer is excellent for this stage, especially if you're using the freeze strat. Like I mentioned before, Ring Girl can work as a general attacker substitute. You must be wondering,
Boogle, Ring Girl is a anti-black attacker.
Well, it works as a general attacker as well because it has nice stats, nice health, nice DPS. You can use it as a general attacker. Same with Pole Vaulter, Fencer, Drama Cats, etc. In the future, I might make a whole video just on general attackers, going through the gacha general attackers, so I don't have to keep bringing all of them up over and over again. But I think you get the idea here. Paris is of course one of the most famous ones, and if you have Cameraman aka Mercat's true form, absolutely do use it. And it should go without saying, Courier Cat does work in this stage as well. Also, I'll mention this here in case you haven't watched any of my previous guides. Just because I bring Bahamut doesn't mean you have to bring Bahamut. If you have better Ubers, absolutely do use them or even replace Bahamut. So keep that in mind. Most Ubers will work infinitely better than Bahamut. No power-ups are needed. The first strategy we'll go over is the freeze strat. This strategy can be executed by Castaway alone, but also you can pair up units like Necromancer and such. That is a very effective way to do it. Now in the beginning here, as always, you just want to stack up as much money as possible while not trying to push too hard in the beginning. At this point, you do want to immediately start stacking up your crowd control units, whether that be Necromancer, Psycho Cat, Castaway, etc. Now stacking up your freeze units is much more effective in this stage because Bun Bun against a stack of Psycho Cats can just wave all of them away on one hit and then you're dead. So unless you're using like wave blockers, keep in mind it is a pretty RNG heavy stage if you are using units that do not freeze. Now essentially just keep stacking up until you hit the base. Ideally you do want to max out your wallet in case something goes wrong. As you're pushing up, you do want to have your Bahamut and or Uber there as well. Now, what you want to do here is just keep pushing forward. You can get a freeze lock here if you have enough crowd control units stacked up. Like in the beginning, I mentioned you want to stack up your crowd control units. This is exactly why. Now, once this happens, it's pretty much game over for Bun Bun unless he gets knocked back right there and the enemy walks in front of Bun Bun. But if he doesn't wave and you get pretty lucky, then you could just keep crowd controlling him constantly. And once he's in that freeze lock, it's pretty much over. That's why freeze is pretty great for this stage compared to Psycho Cat's slow. Because when Bun Bun is slowed, he can still attack. When Bun Bun is weakened, he can still attack. And knockback doesn't help out too much here. So using freeze to limit Bun Bun's attacks as much as possible is the surefire strategy for this stage, and there we're able to beat it very quickly there. We'll go through some more lineup examples for the freeze strategy. In this one, we're using the power of LD and waves to hopefully just eliminate all the peons out of the way so you can just safely freeze lock Bun Bun and minimize those waves as much as possible. But as you can see, you can get unlucky if you don't stack up your crowd control units enough in the beginning. Even if you do, there is a chance that Bun Bun doesn't get frozen, he waves, and just kills everything. But we're able to recover here. Valkyrie is back up, our stack is built up enough here. And the LD from Pole Vaulter and the waves from Crazed Legs does work very well here for clearing up the peons, so you don't have an issue of Castaway being blocked by the peons or your other crowd control units being blocked by the peons, because that can be an issue. The ultimate lineup is just pairing Necromancer with Castaway with any other attacker here. In this example, again, we're using LD to just clear up the peons and waves. You can use other attackers like Drama Cats, Paris, Ring Girl, etc. And in this example, we're not even using Bahamut, we're just using Valkyrie's true form for that freeze proc, that extra chance to freeze. So Bun Bun just cannot do anything at all. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, you can absolutely do this stage without using the freeze strategy. but just keep in mind there is a bit more RNG and it is definitely way more riskier because Bun Bun could wave at any moment, and that means goodbye to your entire stack. You can just go in this stage once you have a stack built up and just not use your meat shields. That is definitely a way to play the stage, but it can get risky if you don't have good peon control, so keep that in mind. If you are going to decide to do something like that, using units like Pole Vaulter is excellent for that type of strategy. And from the get-go, you can see very clearly the difference if we're using a different crowd control effect other than freeze. We get pushed very hard, and that's due to the waves. Bun Bun comes out, instantly waves your stack, and then they're just all dead. Very unlucky, it can happen. This run was actually our first clear in the stage, and we got very unlucky with Bun Bun's waves. He managed to wave like a couple attacks back to back, and it just got brutal like right there. We try to build up a stack, Bun Bun waves, eliminates everything. Try to do it again, then he just waves. So yeah, it can be very back and forth. So I highly do recommend using a freeze strategy if you don't want to deal with RNG in this stage, because if Bun Bun decides to just wave multiple times in a row every time you try to build up a stack, he can just steamroll through everything and you're dead. So that is a very big thing to keep in mind. High health general attackers are nice for this. That's why Dragon is a staple, and Ring Girl and Drama Cats as well. But yeah, that about covers most of the things for Great Abyss Into the Future Chapter 3. The stage very much identical to Chapter 3 Moon, the same way Into the Future 2 Abyss was similar to Empire of Cats Chapter 2 Moon. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest of the Into the Future 3 guides are soon. It's been John Boogle, and see ya.